We'd like to acknowledge the land we meet on today as traditional lands of the Kaurna people, and that we respect their spiritual relationship with their country. We also acknowledge the Kaurna people as traditional custodians of the Adelaide region, and that their cultural and heritage beliefs are still as important to living Kaurna people today. We pray for wisdom to provide good governance for the city of Unley in the service of our community. Members will stand in silence in memory of those who have made the supreme sacrifice in the service of their country at sea, on land and in the air. Lest we forget. Apologies, Rebecca. Councillor Rogers. Leave of absence nil. Conflict of interest. Do any members have any? Minutes of the ordinary council meeting held 8th of December 2025. Councillor Brzezinski, seconded by Councillor Bonham. Mover? Those in favour? Unanimous. Deferred items nil. Petitions, deputations nil. Reports of committees nil. We now move to item 4.1. Do I have a mover? Thank you, Councillor Gaffey.
Thank you, Your Worship. Item 4.1 builds on previous motions that have led us to this point to develop a tree canopy offset scheme. This provides flesh to the bones to basically identify how the City of Unley will proceed if we're given ministerial go-ahead. As developed in this plan, it is fair. The boundaries for what people should be trying to achieve are clearly marked out, and it has a phased-in system that if people are just slightly short, we're trying to encourage them to meet their targets there. This is developed to provide certainty in the event of ministerial approval. Without ministerial approval, it is quite clear that there will be no scheme, but it's important that we're prepared in the event that the Minister does give this approval, hopefully this year. As members will be aware, in the paper, it develops modelling which provides ideas for how this scheme will work and the potential funds that could be provided if this scheme is approved. Ideally, the City would prefer that no funds were actually paid and that everyone who provides a development application and then redevelops their land goes on to ensure that they have 15% tree canopy, helping the City as a whole. The modelling shows that on the current numbers that those who have redeveloped their properties, half of them will fail to make the minimum 15%. And 15% is a minimum. It's not what our target should be, but it's at least getting some of the way closer to maintaining Unley's tree canopy. Hopefully, the use of this scheme will increase those people who, as has been noted from 2018 to currently, haven't got there, and the possibility that we will be able to increase their tree canopy in time. This specifically addresses the use of land beyond council land. Council land does not make up the largest part in the City of Unley, and whilst we're doing our damn best to make sure that we place trees wherever we can, we require the assistance of those who own private land, and this scheme helps to address that.
Thank you. Seconder, Councillor Brzezinski. Thank you.
Reserve my right.
Reserving your right. Any speakers? Councillor Russo. Oh, yeah, well, somebody's... Hang on. Okay, you've reserved your right, Councillor Brzezinski. You need to interrupt to exercise it. Russo.
Through the chair, I have just a number of questions. When does state government go into caretaker? It is now?
Sorry?
Is state government in caretaker mode now?
No.
When does they go into caretaker mode? Does anyone know?
Does anybody know exact date?
Thank you. Okay. That's right.
Yeah.
So realistically here, in regards to the Minister for Planning, whoever that is, this is not going to be until after the election and so forth. So, and it could be a change of direction. Is that a fair, or not change of direction, but we don't know what to expect because of the election? Is that a fair comment or not?
I think
Are there concerns there? I'm just asking about the positioning of this.
Yes, no, that's a good question.
through the chair, certainly will not make a decision before the state election. He's indicated that.
And if they get in, then it'll be dependent on whether they're the minister again, or if it's the same planning minister, if it's the same government and all the rest of it. Yes.
So a couple of scenarios without going into a lot of detail. If the government gets back in and if it's the same planning minister, his indications are that he is inclined to look at this scheme favourably and potentially an announcement sometime this year.
Okay, another question regarding recommendation 3. I don't have any issue with what we've done and all the work that we've done with the tree canopy incentive. Don't have any problems with what this intended to do in this next step, but I'm a little bit confused, I guess, in regarding to point 3 around administration notifying all residents undertaking development after the 1st of February. So that's now of something that we don't have a decision about yet. We have informed our council previously, our residents about this tree incentive. They've been engaged, they want this, so it's not about that. But I'm a little bit concerned about what we're actually proposing, what are we informing them about at this stage when we've possibly got nothing further. We're giving them this could happen, and I'm just wondering whether that's a little bit soon in regards to and jumping the gun. And my other concern is that, yes, our residents, but my other concern is that builders and developers who work with our community also equally, they might not be on board, I get that, but understanding that and waiting to get to development approval stage, isn't that a bit late for residents to find out whether or not possibly they're in breach of, or whether they will be in line with this incentive scheme or not? So I'm a little bit concerned about that landing and where the comms, I guess, around that, because to me this is not consultation, this is informing, I understand that, but just the timing and where that lands.
Okay.
Through the chair, thank you. I think it's a case of when we draw the line and when we start. So I guess one of the things that we heard through the workshop with council was the importance of behaviour change. So what item 3 seeks to do is to say that if council chooses to, then anyone that would come in to engage with our planning staff, often in that pre-lodgement phase, that we are able to give them notice of council's intent. And that's all it is. It doesn't commit council to anything, but it says that that's our desire, which reinforces, I guess, what's been documented over time. It advises them that this may happen, and these are the options available to them to achieve a better performance outcome, should they wish.
And in addition, we did exactly the same with the aged care facilities. We've advised of our intention to do this. Do you want to? I don't know if I can use the microphone. Could you? Could the others turn it off, please?
Sorry.
Thanks.
I turned it off too early, obviously. Okay, so under that understanding, you're saying that this notifying all residents, this is about actually the pre-education for anyone from now on that is applying, that piece of information is going to be part of any form of assessment under the criteria, so people are aware that this is going to happen. So it's twofold: education, making people aware that we want you to consider, even if the incentive doesn't get in place, but 2, if it does, this is what's going to happen. So it's predominantly building education awareness for those people applying only. It's not out to everyone, this is what's happening type of thing. It's more about the process at point of development.
Yep.
Yes, thank you.
Exactly.
Thank you.
It's not clear. Yep. Yes. Well, I'm glad you've cleared it up.
Sorry.
That's good. Now, well cleared up. If you're confused, you're not now. Jennifer Bonham.
Yes, look, I understand that this is about what we do if the minister actually decides to allow us to proceed. I am really concerned about the cost of this. To be honest, we could well go out and knock on every door in Unley and offer them a free tree given the cost of this whole scheme. $30,000 that for staff that hasn't been included in the modelling, and I understand why, but that $30,000 of staff resources means that where those staff are either going to have to delay projects that may well be working very well at the moment, or we pay $30,000 up front to get someone else in per annum. So that's actually a really significant cost of the whole scheme, and I think that there are more effective, and I've said this before, there are more effective ways of spending that money. And also the scheme, we will know if it's deterring people from cutting down trees within 12 months. So this review should be at 12 months to see whether it's working at that stage. And also it provides no incentive for those people who cannot reach 15% tree canopy cover. So, for example, apartment dwellings, people buying into apartments, which we're promoting on our corridors. So people buying into what developers will provide are going to be penalised. And there's no incentive or there's no acknowledgement of any attempts to have balcony gardens or rooftop gardens or greening walls and things like that. So, okay, we can argue that, let's have 3 metre, make sure we've got 15% canopy cover at 3 metres. Well, if you've got a 6, 7 or 8 storey building, that's actually not going to do very much for reducing the heat of that building, the urban heat effect of that building. Balcony gardens will, green roofs will, green walls will, and there's nothing in here that actually incentivises people and recognises, okay, you can't get the 15% tree canopy cover, but if you're trying to reduce heat or if you're actually trying to get other ecosystem services by having green walls, green balconies, etc. This doesn't acknowledge that. It doesn't incentivise people to do that. So I can't vote for it.
Okay. Any other speakers? Councillor Brunetsky.
Yep, look, implementation is critical with this scheme. And I thank Di Salvi and all the other staff involved for their work in this implementation plan, because it would have become quite a complex thing to do. The scheme, process and program have been outlined in the papers. Fairness to the property owners/developers has been built into the process, including an error buffer of 12 to 14.99% to compensate for known limitations of LIDAR. And if we are incorrect in relation to a dispute regarding tree canopy cover, we pay the on-site survey costs. If not, the developer does. And there are several opportunities for staff to engage with property owners and developers during the development process to encourage tree retention and plantings. The scheme will, of course, have its own budget line, and there is a systematic monitoring process over the course of the trial. Cost estimates, as we know, have been modelled over the 10 years. So $2.2 million may be generated in income based on the modelling that has been done from 2018, and expenditure to administer the scheme would be around $545,000. With the scheme being self-funded, the net income should be about $1.65 million over the 10 years. However, there needs to be an initial investment of $50,000, which is on top of that 545,000 that I spoke about, which is an initial administration establishment cost. I've been told that the additional 135,000 for the first 3 years has been factored into the 545,000 10-year administration costs. The 30,000 is absorbed into business. The 30,000 administrative costs are absorbed into business as usual, as it's a priority project. I agree about increasing greening across the City of Unley. There are lots of ways you can do this, but this is about the tree canopy target. This is specifically in relation to the 31% tree canopy target that has been set by the state government. The other thing to note is that if the scheme does not result in the intended outcome of behaviour change and tree canopy cover improves overall, then the income generated will of course be less. So we're really aiming for that behaviour change, and it's in relation to trees specifically, because that's something we can measure through LIDAR, and it is a state government target. So with any other mechanisms, environmental mechanisms, I think we should look at that as well, if the Chamber so agrees. Yep, so that's all I have to say about that. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other speakers? Okay, before the mover gets right to reply, given the investment and time I've spent analysing the data, Councillor Brodetsky has pointed out, if this scheme's introduced, as far as the general ratepayer is concerned, according to the staff estimates, we're at $1,654,757 ahead. And so for all ratepayers, it's good. For all ratepayers, it's good because in 2 years' time, at the moment, we're doing okay because in 2024, we planted over 600 trees. This year, we planted fewer, but they were bigger because we're running out of places to put them in. So 600 trees, we would need $90 million to buy the land to plant the 600 trees we planted in 2024. And the next year, we would need not quite as much to plant the 450. And so, assuming that the trees are planted near the boundaries and they overhang, let's halve it. We would need $54 million annually to buy the land to plant the trees on to get to the 31%, a 31% average cover that's target. The studies show quite clearly at 30% tree canopy in Sydney, next door to suburbs with 10% tree canopy on hot summer's day, you're talking about 10 degrees Celsius difference. So, 55 degrees, when 45, 44, 54. How will the new trees grow in over 50 to actually get them to raise them and to actually recover from that? The city, I believe, will become unlivable. Now, it is not the only solution. Rooftop gardens were mentioned. Well, in Unley Central, we're planning trees jacaranda size 3 stories up. So the gardens and things are important. It doesn't cover those, but it does cover, as Councillor Brodetsky, the money, and it does cover, also as Councillor Brodetsky, the tree canopy cover. It shouldn't be the end of what we do, and it's not the end of what we do. With our free giveaways and everything else that we do, we're throwing the lot at everything. We're doing okay. But as soon as we run out of land to plant our hundreds of trees every year, it tips. So let's take the action. Councillor Gaffey.
Just to address a couple of points. This scheme, as has been noted, is to provide forewarning to those residents who are looking to develop property, looking to build something, so that they have an idea about what's coming, that they know that this might actually not come, but this is where council's looking. If you choose to build a house in Unley, perhaps you need to consider providing deep soil that you will have the ability to plant trees there. Giving people more notice is better than giving people less notice. Notifying everyone on the 1st of February that this is where we're going is an advantage, not a disadvantage. The concept that we should be replacing this scheme with just giving away free trees is to disparage the work that this council does on giving away free trees. If we were seeing that this had an uptick in the amount of tree canopy at the moment, we wouldn't need this scheme. The concept of reviewing at 12 months, if we look at the timeline provided by council here, the timeline shows that it takes 2 years from the time that someone puts in the DA to the time in which their property is developed. Minimum 2 years. And as we know from those of us who walk around council who see properties being developed, you will notice the land is generally cleared completely. So if we're going to have a completely cleared block after 2 years with a house on it, it's going to take a little time to grow a tree. Reviewing this at 12 months means that you haven't even given the chance for the scheme to work. You've snuffed it out. The concept that apartments could simply replace this, that you wouldn't need to actually have apartments making their own sort of lift to it there, means that we're going to have different rules. You should have some sort of level of planting. With apartments, we should look at doing things differently in the City of Unley. It need not look like the City of Adelaide. We should have the concept that perhaps if you're building apartments in Adelaide, you need to have the idea that you need to look for trees and things like that. People who buy apartments here should be buying into a green area. They shouldn't just be buying into a concrete block. This scheme helps to provide Unley with a future.
Okay, those in favour? Those against? Okay, declare the motion carried. Those in favour, please stand. Thank you. You're right. Thanks. It's all right. It's, I've got a camera in the road. Young Street roundabout. Would somebody like to move or speak to this, please? Thank you, Councillor Russo. Your light's on.
Yes, I'd like to move this item as presented here. The proposed upgrade and design for these roundabouts, which both Councillor Finos and myself have been consulted on with staff regarding the implications, the possibilities and so forth, is going to actually provide, I believe, it's going to provide the safety that's required at these roundabouts for pedestrian crossing, safe pedestrian crossing, looking at a particular model that's used in other councils, and I've just lost my paper. Oh, there it is. Sorry. But also, apart from that, creating modern roundabouts that are taking in consideration safety, they are meeting compliance standards, and I think that's probably the most important thing, that these are upgrades to roundabouts that is required as part of our asset renewal requirements. It's not redesigning to need formal consultation broadly or anything, because it's something that we have to do from a compliance point of view. We've taken the opportunity, I guess, at this stage is to make those roundabouts create, a better safety feature with the crossing points, so that people are crossing back from the actual intersection versus right on the intersection that many people do. And therefore, I think that's a better way forward. So it's an improved design approach to something that we need to comply with. So I'm satisfied that those roundabouts, the three roundabouts at Roberts Street, Palmerston and Salisbury Street, we know the community that have spoken with myself and Councillor Finos, who've been concerned about those roundabouts and how ugly they look and how people go over the top of them and the mess that they are, that they're actually in need of repair. I think that the staff in the transport area, with Tanya leading us, has really considered not just put in a new roundabout, but they've considered, I guess, the implications of a better design and the safety requirements of it. There might be, as usual, when we put anything new in, it might create a different look and feel. It might take a couple of car parks away, but we're not talking about busy streets in regards to parking. It's those ones have got parked, particularly along Young Street, they've got specific parking regulations and so forth around there, so we have good turnover and so forth, and there's parks there. So I think from an access point of view, and also what will also complement further down the track, the next stages of the cycling route that goes along there, it will also complement that. So we're sort of getting ahead to fix this particular problem now, so that when we do get ready for the stage for the cycling route, that it will sit well with those as well. So have taken that into consideration. So please support this asset renewal of 3 roundabouts.
Councillor Finos.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'll be also supporting this option. The roundabout issue and the car parking issue has been 2 of the issues that both Jane and myself have confronted over the last 2 or 3 years. And prior to me actually going on council, the roundabout issue has always been an issue. The compliant issues are where currently the roundabout isn't compliant. So with the comparison between the compliancy and the safety issue, I think it's a no-brainer. So I think that's something that we need to move forward with. The car parking issue, we've just settled the car parking issue in Salisbury and Palmerston Road at the moment. There may be an issue closer to Unley Road where this is affected more so with the loss of car parking. But I think the major part of the whole issue is the safety issue of the roundabouts. So I congratulate our team on actually coming up with a great solution for Young Street and the roundabouts. Also, I welcome the council decision also to inform, not consult on this issue. We've always had issues about consultation and we over-consult and whatever, whereas we actually plan on informing people this is what the decision of council is going to be. So I welcome that, that issue on the decision-making of the council.
Councillor Brzezinski.
Yes, look, I think this is all very good. Engineering and design aspects to roundabouts in order to create a safer walking and cycling environment more generally will continue to enhance the slow speed environment that we're looking for in the City of Unley. The radial roundabout design with a zebra crossing, as recommended in the Active Travel Design Guide, will, I think, really contribute to a further slow speed environment along Young Street. As stated in the papers, the radial design will be new to Unley, but I've seen that kind of design elsewhere, like in the UK, with the zebra crossings, and they do seem to slow, from my subjective point of view, do seem to slow traffic down. The splitter islands will help channel vehicles, and the cycling zones on each approach will encourage cyclists to take the road more confidently. I see many cyclists go up and down Young Street, so this will provide a further level of comfort for riders who aren't confident and who may be more vulnerable. And as we know, Parkside is close by, Parkside Primary. When drivers are used to a slower speed environment, it becomes the norm, which I think then changes driver behaviour further. And I agree with Councillor Russo and Councillor Finos. The informed consultation process is the way to go. And if anybody has any further bright ideas that doesn't change the road rules, that would be great. Every effort has been made, as Councillor Finos mentioned, to minimise the loss of parking, and loss of 6 parking spaces in total, I think, is entirely justified for the design that we're looking for. Also, we've set aside stage 4 of Young Street in favour of stages 2 and 3, which are for detailed design as from this month, I think. So this upgrade within stage 4 will be in place during 26-27 before tackling the rest of stage 4 sometime in the future. So I think it's fortuitous that the need to upgrade the roundabouts has occurred now, which won't then further complicate matters when we're looking at stage 4. So happy to support option 1 as proposed.
Thank you. Any other speakers? Mover.
I think the points have been made quite clearly, so I now close.
Those in favour? Unanimous. Can I just thank the staff on behalf of all those who've been hit on our roundabouts, including my wife, because the previous roundabouts are high speed, the motorists turn their back to you, and this design is brilliant. And so congratulations. I just had to share that. Well done. And just keep up what you're doing. Okay. Audit and Risk Committee, I think we're up to that one. Oh, yeah, you're done. Yeah, it's 4-3. Thank you, Councillor Bonham.
Yes, I'm happy to move in terms of administration's recommendations here. Our independent members play a really invaluable role on the Audit and Risk Committee. They work in local government, continue, some of them to work in local government, or they've had former work in local government. They sit on other audit and risk committees, so they can actually compare what Unley is doing with other councils. They can provide their own expertise but draw on the best practice of other councils, and also can share what Unley Council is doing with those other councils, so it kind of lifts all boats at once. So I think their role is invaluable, and I really enjoy in Audit and Risk Committee meetings listening to the arguments they put and the rationale that they put for the comments or their recommendations and so on. So I think they offer a really valuable service to us. I spoke to Alex Brown earlier today around how the fees have been calculated. So obviously the presiding member fee is roughly an average, and I was concerned that the independent member fee was based more closely on the median rather than the average, but I took his advice that we actually needed a significant difference or gap between the presiding member fee and the independent member sitting fee, given the much higher workload of the presiding member. So I'm very happy to move in terms of the recommendations.
Councillor Gaffey.
Thank you, Your Worship. I have to second what has been said. The members on this committee apply rigour to the business of council, introduce new ideas and confirm the ones that are being shown at this committee and help identify whether we're on track. It should be considered that these fees are for the meeting, but involved in the meeting is reading through reports that may be 200 to 400 pages long, as some council members may be familiar with, the amount of time it takes to get through that sort of document, the meetings themselves, which will be 1.5 to 2 hours themselves there. So there is significant work that goes into turning up for the meeting. And when we look at how we've looked for members in the past, the ones that sat on this current committee, we had quite a number of applications and quite a good shortlist, but it has been anecdotal that it's been challenging to get members in the past on certain times. So this helps to provide fairness, provides a little bit of level pegging with other councils, and helps to fairly remunerate those that sit on this council. There is an implication to the budget itself, but I don't think it will be quite a big noticeable point to the budget. So I move.
I'm going to follow the lights. Councillor Predetsky.
Just a question on process. The sitting fees haven't been reviewed for quite some time. I'm just wondering what process has been put in place to ensure that the sitting fees are reviewed regularly and keep up at least with CPI.
Thank you. Through the chair.
Hang on.
Oh, sorry.
Answer that, please.
Thank you, Your Worship. Through the chair, we have advised in the report that we recommend a further review of the sitting fees when we go out for expressions of interest in about 12, 13 months' time. For the term of existing members expires on the 31st of May next year. As part of that process, Council can then consider whether they'd like to apply CPI going forward, but we feel that what we're proposing for the period from now until the end of May next year is appropriate, but there will be that consideration when the expression of interest comes out.
My question was around that. When was the last time that these sitting fees are actually increased? And therefore, obviously, when I don't know how far back that is, but I'm presuming that's reflective then of why we've landed not at this price range. Obviously, after doing some benchmarking and so forth, and I think when you review any fees, I think they need to be done consistently across all committees and things, and apply the same thing, whether that's CPI or whether that's a different measure, which I think benchmarking needs to be considered in line with CPI, because we don't automatically put things up by CPI. I guess that was all my questions were too.
Okay, very much a statement. Would you like to make any comment to it?
Well, the question was when it was, yeah, that's fine.
Thank you. Right. Any other speaker? Mover?
Thanks others for their comments on this and support on this, and I recommend we vote to increase the fees.
Yeah, those in favour? Unanimous. Next. Performance report, CEO KPIs attachment. We have met as a CEO Performance Review Committee, and I'd like one of the committee members to please move. Councillor Hughes, yes? All right, Councillor Hughes, move.
Yes, I move that we receive and adopt this in terms. We've got a very comprehensive set of KPIs, as you probably realise, and they're virtually all on track for delivery. There's all sorts of milestones there which the staff have been working very, very well towards. So please don't hesitate to ask your questions so we can all be very clear about where we're going in the next few months.
Somebody else on the committee, please, either Monica or Don. Don, you're second it. Good lad.
Yeah, I have pleasure in seconding it. We're just noted in the report, of course. It's self-explanatory. Perhaps one observation I would make is there is a lot of detail in this report. We're moving forward with a number of issues, and Council probably need to be mindful that every time we make a decision here about something new, we put pressure on that gentleman over there to achieve the results that he's got down here. And it's just something to bear in mind. If he's behind on anything, it's probably our fault.
Oh, there you go. It's Don's fault. Councillor Brunetsky.
Yeah, look, as Councillor Hughes has already stated, these are pretty comprehensive KPIs. They're the most strategic and complex set of KPIs that I've seen since I've been on council. So, with the 4-year lead strategies, delivery plan, the city plan, Keswick Barracks and so on. So, it's a very strategic set of KPIs. So I think that the focus, as Councillor Palmer has said, I think the focus really needs to be on the CEO achieving those KPIs so that he doesn't have the impediments in place like we experienced in the last financial year that took him off track doing other or being involved in other activities and other projects. So I think we've agreed on this, and so we need to make sure that we don't create the barriers, as Councillor Palmer said, for the CEO to achieve his KPIs.
Now I'm going to open up to questions. Councillor Russo, sorry.
Notwithstanding what's been said, and don't have an issue what's been said, and it would be very interesting because I think our KPIs are very detailed in that sense, which, and I know a lot of our councils, they never get to this level of detail, and some of this you could say is almost, to a degree, a little bit operational, but that's fine. We've asked for this, or this is what council has asked for. I don't mind it being at a higher level because strategically that's what KPIs should be doing. My concern is not about sticking to this. This is actually, as part of good review process, he'll be checking in, as the CEO will check in with his staff and do reviews along the way of how we are tracking against them. And if things change, because things do change, whether we make decisions affecting the change or the climate or the situation or anything, we do need to be mindful of these set KPIs, but the ability and the flexibility to possibly change direction if we need to. And I don't see there's anything wrong with that. That is why we have council meetings. That's why we have checkpoints in regarding to our financial quarterly reports and so forth, so that we can actually reassess and determine if there is additional cost for something or if there's another priority that we believe as council in our decision-making things needs to go at the forefront, we adjust. I don't have an issue with that. I think it's keeping this open and transparent so that we're aware of what's being achieved by a CEO, what we've agreed to, and if change does need to occur, that how we approach it. And we do have a committee that oversees the CEO's performance on this. So I would be, I see that as one of their roles in regards to check-ins, in regards to how that's proceeding with things into the future.
Look, just to allay some of those concerns, and thank you very much for raising them because they're very valid. There's a lot of work goes into the preparation. It's a shared thing between the CEO and the panel. It's a shared discussion. And I've never noticed our CEO or our panel members, if things are changing, to raise the change and to discuss them effectively and to share them and bring them back as we have each year as a panel to the council to consider as a whole. And I'm actually very grateful to this council for the work you've done in making sure you've checked and read the KPIs that are proposed, that are put up to be voted on. And I'm delighted with the report as your chair of that committee and working with the CEO to deliver those. Now, Peter, you're one of the partners with these stuff and delivered it. Do you want to add anything to it? That's fine. That's fine. Okay. It's a lot of work. So if you put your hand up for this committee next time, it's a lot of work. Isn't it, Chris? Chris was on it, you see. Yeah. Oh, Councillor, sorry. My apologies, Councillor Crabb. Yes. So, mover. Those in favour? Unanimous. Council action record. Somebody? Don, Councillor Palmer.
Yeah, I'm happy to move with no commentary.
Seconder, Councillor Crabb.
Yeah, I'm happy to second. And I just have a question through the chair.
Yes.
Just with regards to item 4.1, the Unley Community Hub hire fees and facility name. I know there's been some context provided as to the reasons for the delay, but I'm just noting that it's now kicked out to June of next year. When this came to a council meeting in December of 2022, I'm just conscious that I know that someone whose my day job is associated with a large university that recently got a Ghana name, which was achieved through appropriate authorities within 12 months. I'm just wondering why this is being held up so much.
Yeah. I think it's all your fault. To be serious, as a new staff member, and you're going to be taking on the question. Thanks, Vanessa.
Through the chair. We're using the cultural scanning project, which I understand is a council-endorsed project, to be the catalyst, I guess, for determining what the appropriate names might be should we get to that point. And the cultural scanning project has been approved across 2 years, and so that's why the deadline's moved from June 2026 to June 2027. So I guess we understood that piece of work was in order to make sure that any names that we were coming up with were meaningful for our community, and so I think that is an important piece of work. And notwithstanding that the university might have come up with a name more quickly than that, we don't have the sort of historical knowledge or artefacts in order to be able to make those decisions that quickly, and I think it just is going to take that amount of time.
Okay, thank you. Any others further? Those in favour? Unanimous. Thank you. Project summary report. Where's Aaron? Good. Grab a seat. Yeah, take a close seat. Yeah. Yep.
Your Worship, just this is something we've talked about for a while now, and it's we'll start to do these reports on a regular basis. If you remember, there was a member of the gallery that actually raised this as an issue as well. So it is, and councillors have raised it in the past, so it provides a snapshot of all the capital projects for the year and renewal projects. I'm just looking at it. Apologies, next time we'll do an A3 chart because you can't see it in hard copy. So it's a snapshot in terms of progress, dashboard, and hopefully you find it of use. This report is different and separate from the finance reports that you get.
Beautiful attachments. Councillor Rabbit.
Thank you, Worship. Yes, look, I'm happy to move that the report be received and compliment staff on the report. I do take the CEO's point about trying to read the printed copy. It's much easier to read on a screen where I can actually open it up a little bit easier. And the stoplight system on green, amber and red is a good indication of the status of the various projects and the scheduled start, completion dates, etc., etc. Useful for us explaining to our residents what's happening and why it might be delayed, because there's some explanations there as well. So very useful document, thank you. I would also like to add something that's not here, and that's one of the most common complaints that we as elected members receive is about footpaths, and a lot of work has been done on footpaths in the last number of months, incredible amount that I've seen around the place, so thank you for that as well. And for the elected members' benefit, if you look on the elected members hub, that information is now live, isn't it? It's being updated as work is progressing, so you can have a look and see what's happening and when. But yeah, no, very good report, thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Brzezinski.
I just want to know, I'm happy to second the, I think, are you moving in terms?
Yes.
Yes. I presume that this is not creating, in terms of the tables, not creating extra work for you administratively? All right. So what I think here, this is good because this is a snapshot that we actually need. It's a kind of reporting which doesn't generate a lot of extra churn behind the scenes. So I think that's great. And as Councillor Bitt said, you know, it'll give us an idea of what the hold-ups might be or where the project might be at. And for me, with the walking and cycling stuff, if people ask me things, then I can see where things are up to in relation to that item. So that's, I think, really, really useful. Just talking about the financial end-of-year reports, I thought that was really, really good. I think that the reporting is actually improving because at the end of the financial year, last financial year, we had an indication of all the outstanding projects And it kind of gave us an inkling that we were going to be having a lot of carryovers. So that was actually useful, because then you got this concept of what actually is being done. And then this, then leading from that is, all the difficulties in actually landing some of the work that before the end of financial year, and it all tipping over to the next financial year. So, I think it's good because, it doesn't create a lot of extra work, and bang, there it is. So, yeah, I'm happy with that.
Okay, going round, Councillor Bonham.
Yes, I think following on from that, we as elected members get updates from staff on a regular basis, and so I think it's useful for it to actually be in the council agenda so that it is available to the broader public. So we often, we know what's going on because we get those monthly reports from staff via the email, but I think this is really important to actually have that then put in our agenda.
Okay, Councillor Russo.
Yay. I've been asking this, I'm one of those councillors who's been asking it before this term for this, because I felt this would help us as councillors be able to be equipped with correct information to give our community what's going on. What's even better, it's a fairly easy and transparent opportunity here to share with the community exactly where we're at with things. The only thing I'd ask is that we, I don't know how often you're going to update this. Quarterly? Okay, so if it's quarterly update, that maybe that's made clear with this, and I don't know whether you're going to be positioning this elsewhere for the community, because obviously you've got to dive back into a board paper to see it, because I do think it's a very transparent piece of information and easy to read. So when community says, where are we up to with this project, we've got something to point to, and they can clearly articulate it without getting into the weeds, so to speak. So look, I think this has been really, really good, and I think let's use it to our advantage with our community and all the rest of it, so that they also can see where we're up to and what's happening. Thanks.
Good. I just wanted to say a big thank you. This is a letter that has arrived. Fixing the footpath pavement in our area. The crew who worked on it were fantastic, always around, always friendly and clear and very good at what they did. They did an excellent job, and the new pavement is a vast improvement. It is no longer catches people, feet, prams, bags, walking through, much safer. And I'll read the last sentence. The best part was seeing how much they seemed to enjoy their work. Their photographs capture that perfectly. So that was unsolicited. It'll be in the newsletter that's coming out, and it underlines gives a bit of colour and image. And the saying thank you that you said to the staff tonight, thank you for doing that. It's appreciated. Mover? Those in favour? Unanimous. Okay, you pass that on, Aaron. There's a rough copy. It hasn't been of what's going out. Next. Questions. This is the swimming pool questions by Councillor Doyle. Look, I do apologise when I'm not got a crook neck or anything. It's the Councillor Doyle down there.
Through the chair, I know we're not usually...
Hang on, you don't get a chance, mate. They're there. The questions are there. They're on notice. They're the answers. Now, as I'm about to ask... I haven't got a governance person. No, that's it. So, off. Next. Questions from me. Once again, Luke, no comment, off. The answers are there. All right. So I treat myself the same. Mayor's report. Would somebody like to move that? Councillor Hughes. Thank you, Councillor Palmer. Those in favour? Those against? Sorry, do it again, please. Those in favour? Okay, unanimous. Thank you. Deputy Mayor's report. Mover, Councillor Hughes. Councillor Palmer. Mover. Those in favour? Unanimous. Reports of members are there for noting. Correspondence is there to mayors and chief executive officers, etc., about the transport. Confidentiality. Now here we go. We have to clear the. Yep. Thank you. Yeah. We'll move the motion, but I'm just warning people they might as well get going. Councillor Hughes. Second, Councillor Palmer. Wonderful. Mover. Those in favour?
Point of order, yeah.
Yes.
The group of people that are allowed to stay includes Claude Malik and Wayne's replacing him. So does the name need to change in the group?
A brilliant point of order. You are absolutely correct. Monica will be proud of you.
Through the chair.
Yes, there we go. The mover moved at the point of order with the change in it.
Through the chair, thank you for raising. It has been updated in the minute shell on the screen, so it will be reflected accurately. Thank you.
The staff are ahead. The staff are ahead.
Yeah, I was moving what was on the screen, as is custom.
Okay, and now Councillor Hughes had picked it when he moved the motion, and Councillor Palmer seconded it with great deal of confidence.